Welcome, everybody, to the FGN podcast. I'm William Regester, and alongside me, we have Justin Overdorf.
How you doing,
Hope I'm
guys?
saying that.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah. All right, cool. I've murdered my own last name right now and need more coffee. And, of course, Nicholas Ray. So,
Hello.
hello, everybody. And we're going to start it out. What's everyone playing, Justin?
Oh man, right now I am completely hooked on Fallout Shelter, and it's bad. It's bad. It's interfering with my home life. I'm sure it is. I'm sure my wife's so excited to see my screen every night.
Yeah, the Fallout crack.
Yeah, I'll eventually get over it, but for right now I'm just gonna keep on sniffing it. It's awesome. But
Yeah, I've had fun with that, too.
other than that, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, I just got it on Steam. It was on sale, and hopping into that.
Very cool. How about yourself, Nick?
I've been playing a little bit of Endless Legend, which is like a 4-hex game, kind of like Civ, and I just picked up, what was it, Subnocturnal or Subnautica?
Subnautica?
Yeah, Subnautica, that's the game. And that's
Nautica.
interesting. It's kind of one of those survival crafting games that there's so many of these days. But I would say besides that, just a little bit of CS:GO, and it's pretty much what I've been doing. What about you, Will?
Let's see. I'd like to say it'd been more interesting, but it's been straight up Monster Hunter for me. I lost my old save data, and in the last week, I've logged 84 hours on it. So,
You know what? That's
What
okay though,
weapon
because
are
that
you
game's
rocking?
awesome.
what's that?
I said, what weapon are you rocking? Like, are you still doing like the same
Since
thing, or are you trying something different with the save?
mainly the Insect Glaive, the two new ones for Monster Hunter 4, the Insect Glaive and the Charge Axe, or I guess Charge Blade in the U.S., Charge Axe in Japan. So, and I still mess around with bow and stuff, but since I've been a little more focused on this playthrough, it's been just those two.
So is the insect thing? Is it kind of like the war horn or the horn, where you like the combos do different things?
That one's kind of odd to explain. It's you have an insect on your arm that you shoot out, and you can modify and feed the insects. The whole thing to breeding the insect thing, and then it goes out and it gathers blood basically. And depending on where you hit the monster, it gets different types. They have different effects when it brings it back.
I mean,
So
you got to think about
you're
that weapon. Who was high when they made that weapon? Because
yeah
that is the most insane thing you've ever heard of. Like, I mean, it's super
yeah
cool, but like, whoa.
It's it's cool too, man. It's because the big thing with Monster Hunter this time around is they added a lot of verticality, and jumping off of things and stuff, and the jumping on the back, and that thing allows you to do a vault, sort of a pole vault, and then you fling yourself in the air, and you can jump on the monster's back now, and so it's definitely takes advantage of some of the new mechanics in Monster Hunter 4. So yeah, so I'm Mad Dog addicted right now, as usual. I'll log hundreds and hundreds of hours with Monster Hunter as I always do.
Huh,
So,
sounds
and
super
I don't think
awesome.
I've really been playing much else, honestly.
Well, I mean,
Um,
Monster Hunter does have that effect. It's like Monster
yeah,
Hunter and nothing else most of the time.
Yeah,
yeah, you go full in. So,
it's
but I just downloaded Subnautica, so I'll be dabbling with that with you as well. You got me interested. So,
It just has like a different feel than all the other kind of survival games that I've played. I mean, you know how most of them it's just kind of like you're there, you need food, you need like,
yeah,
like you need crafting materials, and you just kind of like on a random island or on some terrain or whatever. But I mean, you're
yeah,
underwater, so you're swimming around. The like swimming controls are really well done, so you're not like raging about being underwater. It just seems like it has a unique feel. Like you kind of start with like a down spacecraft near you, and you have like a little escape pod you're working out of, and you kind of build up from
okay,
there. It seems really unique and really interesting so far. I mean, I've only played like a very little of it, but it just seems different than the whole typical like go hit a tree, for
yeah,
fucking however many whacks
yeah,
the tree
survival
falls down.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
there's been so many of those as of late. It's just saturated the market, and to see something a little different is just really welcome.
You got to admit, we
Well,
all started with that deathly first one, freaking Minecraft. We all started there because I played it first, and I just hated it from the very beginning. I don't know what it was. I just got over it so fast. I just had to stop playing it. I don't know what it was,
yeah.
but
Yeah, I hear you there. I at first I wasn't too into it, but then I got really badly hooked on Minecraft, and I don't even know how many hours I've put into it. So, I don't think quite as much as Nick, though. I think Nick would be a resident Minecraft
I played like
pro.
so much Minecraft. It just like there's a problem with Minecraft where like if you have friends, like if you're playing with buddies, it's funner. But like with me, like all my friends, like I would like get off the server for the night and then I'd come back and everything would be done. Like everything you could imagine,
Uh,
any mod set that they've added, they would have been like, "Hey man, we have every resource you could ever possibly want, ever, and
hmm,
you don't have to do anything anymore." And it's just kind of
Yeah,
like,
well, you're like, thanks guys. Now you just
so
took away from
yeah,
what
everything.
do I build towards? Like, oh
yeah,
well, you could just build another base, and it's like, but
No, like I wanted to dig.
like
It's called Minecraft, not Buildcraft.
like
And again, that's
when
what
it
it is.
came out with no mods, it was a little bit better. Like to me, like for a kind of OG, and mods are
yeah,
fun, but it's the idea of like there is no end game. You know, like you're just continue to explore the seed you're on. You just continue to gather materials, but at a certain point, like to me, I was just like, I don't need any more materials. Maybe I need one specific material, but it's just like it just burnt me out. I mean, like I think it's more now like a toy box for kids, and
Oh
not to
yeah.
yeah,
say that like anybody who's playing Minecraft, you know, is it's a game for all ages, but just it kind of feels to me like if I was younger and I was part of this generation, it would be like my Lego box. Like I have tons of Legos like back home, like just
Oh,
sitting in tubs, like
yeah.
huge, like you know.
I wish I
Game.
hadn't got rid of mine.
I am
So
with you because I had so many, and now my daughter's like Legos, Legos, Legos. We took her to Legoland here in Boston, and she was all about it, man. And here I am. I was like, oh yeah, sure, mom, you can get rid of my stuff. Whatever.
yeah,
I just
I'm
take
keeping
stuff away.
Yeah,
a hold
it's
on to all my Legos because it's just got a lot of sentimental value for me. But it just seems
yeah,
like, you know, if I was a kid now, it would be the exact same obsession because it's just like it doesn't, you know, for me as like an adult, like I kind of want like completion, you know, I want like a goal to go towards. But like when
yeah,
you're a child, like it's just your imagination is like running wild, you know, and that's kind of
yeah.
like where Minecraft thrives when you want to be creative.
Oh, I think as we get older, especially those of us that are in the military, we don't have time to sit there and really exploit our creativity like we used to when we were that much younger. You know what I mean? Like we can't sit there and sit in front of Minecraft and build the same thing. You know, take much time to do that. At least for me, that's my biggest problem with it is I can't sit in front of it as much as I think inside of me really wants to. You know, to really build something sentimental or something awesome. I just don't have the time to do that right now.
Yeah, it is a
I agree
pretty
with
big
that.
time investment, that game. It's doing anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of those games like that too. Just take up so much of your time, especially the creative ones like that. I know Terraria is often compared, and that's one I just can put in just unbelievable amounts of time into.
I like a
So
lot of the like I think it's Terraria or Terraria. I don't know how.
and probably Terraria. I'm
But
sure it was to something.
I love a lot of the things about that game, like the different armors and like finding different materials and like being the bosses and stuff. But like, it's the same thing that happened, man. Like I was playing with my buddies on PS4, and then I came to the server, and then like they've simplified everything. Like everything, there is no challenge anymore, like except for like the ultimate end game boss or something. And I was just like,
All
the
right.
fact that like you just miss out. Basically, you miss out on like gaps between like materials or just segments or bosses. It's just like it just kills me because I'm like it's such a cool multiplayer experience, but if you get
Yeah.
everything out of the game and you either need to have a schedule where like you're playing all at the same time or you just need to play single player because it's just
Exactly.
have
Yeah.
to, you know, and it just to me like there's that problem like with the survival like crafting type games because it's just like it hasn't found the balance of like how to keep your group of friends like kind of in the same like experience, you know, like seeing things for the first time instead of you just logging on and like you go to Crate or whatever your bank is and you go and there's materials you've never seen before, you know.
Exactly. Uh,
That's where you kind of need some cool buddies though that are willing to keep a separate save where you only do this one together at this time.
Yeah,
So
that's a good idea.
that's the way I've always liked to do it. If you have buddies that are disciplined enough not to be dicks about it.
yeah, it's hard though, because I don't know, man. Because every time you start playing, let's say you guys were to start a server, and then I have to start my own thing on that server, man. And it's just you feel like almost like you're wasting time because you're basically double doing everything. Um,
Yeah, I hear that.
I experienced that with Borderlands, actually, Borderlands 2 to be specific. That you're sitting there and you're going through with like two or three friends, and you're doing that. You're going through the game, and then they're like, okay, well, we're gonna sign off now, and you got to turn off the game. You come back later, and you're way the heck back or something like that because you missed half the levels when you had caught up to them, and so you kind of
Yeah.
just felt like you were double doing everything, even though you were way further in the game than you should be. So I feel like that's this kind of the same thing with Minecraft. Is you come back and you're like, okay, well, the game's pretty much beat. There's nothing else for me to dig because you guys did it all. I have some
That
friends
makes
like
sense. Yeah. Or you could be like me where you just didn't have any real friends to play multiplayer or anything with anyway, so you just sat alone by yourself crying.
that. And just was like, oh, damn it, why? Tears.
I did my
I
best.
know, right? You're just walking around hitting diamonds. Oh, God, my life. I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, kind of segueing off of sadness and depression, what's going on in the news? Anything new in games? I know there's kind of one bigger subject we're going to talk about in a bit here, which is the Steam handheld. But is there anything else big? I've been a little out of the loop.
You know, the biggest thing I think that we were talking about, especially on the actual FGN page, is that a lot of people were talking about coming over to PS3 and switching over because Destiny is supposed to be offering just that much more stuff on the PS3, excuse me, PS4 rather than Xbox. I noticed maybe 6 or 7 people switching from it, selling their Xboxes and going over to
Yeah,
PS4
yeah.
today. Just weird trends. I personally, I've liked my Xbox. Of course, I'm probably going to end up getting a PS4 sometimes, but I just find it weird that of all the games to switch people over, it's been Destiny.
Yeah, one of the most divisive games around, too.
Yeah, I was like, well, I mean, cool. Eventually, that stuff's going to come to Xbox anyway, but whatever you guys want to do, I guess. I don't know. It was weird
Yeah.
to me. I know that's not really like news per se, but oh man, what a weird trend to
Yeah, you
see.
know what? It's FGN news, so that's good.
Yeah.
What exactly are we talking like exclusive content here? Like, are we just talking about like a timed exclusive, or is this
Yeah,
something
it's like weapons.
you'll never get?
It's like weapons. Like, well, on the original Destiny version that came out, they had like
Yeah,
two
there was.
weapons that were
Yeah,
exclusive to PS4 and weren't
yeah,
on
there's
the
one
Xbox.
pistol, and there was a. Yeah, I remember that.
But it's not like they were better than the actual in-game awesome weapons that were already in there. So it
Yeah.
was pointless to switch over in the first place. And from what I've been reading, it's the same damn thing. It's like this shitty weapon that you're gonna get to play with for a little bit before you upgrade to like the major weapon, the new Galahorn, whatever new is gonna be out.
How weird. Yeah, see, in complete candor, and Todd and I went through this a little bit. I was kind of a butt about it, but I made the jump from Xbox One to PS4 a while back, but that was just for Bloodborne, to be perfectly honest. And at the time, there wasn't much out for the one that I was that into. I'm not a huge Halo guy, so I made the jump earlier on. I do plan on getting an Xbox One again eventually. I keep waiting for that killer app that wants to bring me back, but so far I haven't had it yet. But I have noticed a lot of people in our community have been talking about that, and of course that creates a little strife. But I'll agree. The Destiny being the one that does it's kind of interesting
It's just out
because
there.
it's such a love and hate game. You know, some people love it, some people hate it, and some people like myself appreciate it for what it is. But it's not, it's by no means would make me jump ship.
Exactly.
You know, I started my kid because I started Destiny on Xbox One, and hit level 30, or no, I think I hit 20 something with all my characters, and then jumped over to PS4 and started over. Now I have one character it's leveled. I barely play it anyway,
Oh yeah.
but I don't know.
I've been getting pushed
Yes,
to
we'll
try to buy
see.
the new one that's coming out, and I'm like, no, I think I'm over it. I've got so many other games I want to play that are coming out soon.
Absolutely.
Fallout, I already know it's going to absorb so much time. It's like, whatever, Destiny, cool.
Yeah, that game is going to be, I hope it lives up to expectations. Fallout 3 was one of the games I put more hours into that game, and I'm just, Say I'm excited is an understatement, but I'm so excited I'm terrified that I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean that's a fine line you gotta walk. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks so good from what we've seen, and I have a lot of faith in Bethesda to get the job done. But a lot of people talk up Skyrim as like one of their favorite Bethesda games. But I kind of had a problem with Skyrim because a lot of when it came to the core storyline, it was very quick. You could finish
Yeah.
it in 6 hours, and
Yeah.
on top of that, like a lot of the quests kind of eventually got to be you're doing the exact same thing. Oh, there's this cave outside town where something bad's going down, and then you have to go to every single cave and ruin and basically just get to the end, kill something, and then leave. I mean, it's a great game. Like, it just has hours and hours and hours of content. And if you're into that idea of just like, you don't really care what you're doing necessarily,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's great. But I just hope that Fallout kind of takes the best from its, because I mean, it just feels like to me like when it comes to side quests in Fallout, they destroyed Skyrim's like side quests. Like,
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
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 when you have so much more flavor, so much more characters in them, so much more just like unique things to do, like unique side quests. I really hope that, because they keep saying like, oh, they keep kind of comparing it to Skyrim, where they're like, hey, you're gonna be good at what you want, you can do whatever you want, it's freedom. But I hope that we didn't sacrifice some of that great storytelling and great side quest content for freedom. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you always have to think like, all right, well, like, where did all this cool crafting stuff come from? Like, where's all this cool building stuff coming from? Where did they take away from? Did they take away from anything? Like, I
really,
have
honest to
high
God,
hopes for it, but I'm worried.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I hope that it's just they were like, okay, well, we have all the cool stuff we had for Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, but now we're gonna give you all this crafting stuff in addition to the graphics, because they already said that the graphics aren't really that great of a jump from what you saw in Skyrim. But now we're talking about adding more content to that, and if that's really how it's gonna go, I'm really about that, because I think with what you were saying, Nick, as far as why they talk about Skyrim so much, it seems like that was everybody's real entry point into the world of Bethesda, even before maybe Fallout 3. Because I think only real gamers, like a lot of the people that we associate with, were really interested in Fallout 3. That got some people hooked, but people weren't into the retro kind of end of the world kind of game. But then you came out
Yeah.
with Skyrim, and that just took everybody's breath away from that point, because it was this massive game. Even though honestly it wasn't really as big as some of Bethesda's other games, it was this massively beautiful game, and that's really what hooked everybody. So
That makes sense.
that's just what I think. But I totally agree with you. I hope that when we actually turn on Fallout 4, it's just like, okay, cool. Well, go wander around in I'm sure there's going to be multiple similarities to many of the side missions, but that overall arc, that a lot of them are different. That's what I'm looking for.
And I really hope
Yeah.
that the main storyline is lengthy, is meaty, and has a lot to do with the world. It really bothered me that I finished, like, because I'm a Morrowind fan. Like, Morrowind is my favorite
Oh
like,
yeah,
Bethesda game,
yeah.
and that main story that is just forever. Like, it takes you forever, especially the
Yeah.
first time, because you're just like left to your own devices. You're just like, there's no quest marker. Like, you're reading this fucking book, and you're like,
Yeah.
where do I have to go? And like sometimes it might be tedious, especially if you were to go back and play it now. But I mean, at that point, like, it just felt like you got so much out of the game. Whereas like Skyrim, it was almost the reverse for me, because like I finished the main story and I was like, this is it. And then I kind of like did some side quests, did the guild quests, of course, like the big popular guild stuff. But then like I just kind of didn't put my face to the grindstone like I've heard some other people do, where they just everything. It doesn't matter where they're going. So like on the map, I was like, well, if there's so many nodes on the map to like explore, but half of them are the same thing, like how much really original content are you getting?
Exactly. Like
Well, my big hope for it is that they had built so much of this behind the scenes. I mean, because as far as announcements to actual release date, that sounds like that game was damn near done by the time they released it. And I hope that means that they really put a lot of time into it, and it looks like it. I have faith that they really did build this massive world for us to just jump into, and I'm tentatively very excited about it. I think that it's going to be good. I think it's going to blow us all away.
Oh
Hopefully,
yeah.
that's my belief.
Biggest thing that got me excited. I'm sorry, dude.
Go for it.
The biggest thing that got me excited was that when they said during their announcement, now this could all just be some hyped up bullshit, but when they said
No.
never at a game announcement, no way.
Destiny.
Yeah, no, bless you. When they said that they had been working on this since Fallout 3 released, that's when I was just like,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm 100%
And we've all
about that.
sat through all the false, like, oh my God, Fallout 4, and it was some dude, that put way too much money and time into a hoax. And, for them to come out and say that they have been doing it for that long, I mean, I think we're all just really excited for that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm nerding out just thinking about it.
I just turned my phone back on and started playing Fallout Shelter again.
Exactly.
Oh man.
I'm really excited for the game. Like I'm a big Fallout fan all the way from like Fallout 2 was probably the first like Fallout I played. But one of the things that really irks me about Skyrim is like the leveling system and like the whole perks thing. And like a lot of people love it, but like to me, like it just made a lot of changes that were wrong to me, because it's like you're doing one thing and you're getting better at it, but then at a certain point, like the curve for like
I hated that
skill
so much.
like, and you're a certain level, so the world's getting harder, like encounters are getting more difficult, but it's taking longer and longer and longer and longer to upgrade this one skill you're primarily trying to use. So like the way I kind of looked at it was like, all right, well maybe if I use like bow points, I can level up bow really quickly, but use those perk points in my like one-handed tree,
Yeah.
And it ended up being like kind of like everyone was kind of like a jack of all trades at a certain point, or like you got to a point where you were doing it in one direction. If you're like a dual wielding sword guy, at a certain point you were just like, I have to either just press my face to the grindstone, like to use that analogy again, and keep going with this, or like use a little bit of magic and get different perks this way. And the way they're kind of showing it is like, hey, it's the perk system, like they're gonna have scaling perks, so you can put more points into every single one to get the good ones. And like I love like the Fallout perk system, like I love those perks.
Yeah.
But I just hope that like it is way more refined in the way they did it in Skyrim, and there's not just this huge hill to climb at a certain point to get experience. It doesn't seem that way, but I just hope, I hope they're doing it right. I love that they're putting more attention in the special system, like the whole your attributes, because to me, like those were always throwaway at a certain point anyway. Like if you
for sure.
Guy, you could just kind of like, if you wanted to be like, those were just useless because you had skills. You had the skill point system, which was really what everything was about. But now that they're kind of tying the attributes to the perks, and there's no real skill points anymore, I think that I see like a great opportunity. Like I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. Like, because I love to play like the character. I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but especially like in New Vegas, like if you just put all your points in the luck, like, and you have basically have like the whatever it's called, like the 50-50. Like coin flip guy.
I heard about that.
I love that type of character because like shit is just nuts. Like you go into VATS, you might have like no AP and you shoot once and like you get the guy like in a headshot critical. Like it's just very fun to me. It's like it has that aspect of like randomness to it. And I'm looking forward to just seeing how they put luck and other skills like into the like perks and how they work and interweave and stuff like that.
No, I'm excited for that too. I don't know. It's going to be cool. I have a feeling it's going to be cool. So.
Yeah. What are you guys getting it on?
What system? Definitely PC.
Yeah, PC, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. I think you can pre-order it now on Steam. I'm not sure. I know you could do it on Xbox, but I know.
But I think it has like there's no like actual legit graphic for it. It's just like Steam taking pre-orders. Like I don't think it has anything to do with Bethesda.
Yeah.
I don't think Bethesda's loaded anything.
Nope, it's just a generic Fallout.
It's just Steam being like, if you want to put money down, you can now, which I don't think is a good or bad thing. I think it's just like, whatever. Like
Yeah,
you can
Yeah.
buy it or you're not. Like there's never gonna be a point where they're like, see, Steam sold out of games. Like I'm just, like I don't see a
Sorry
point.
guys, no more downloads. We don't have them anymore. They're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're out of internet. We ran out.
Just this bottle's gone. I can't help you with the internets anymore. Well, speaking of Steam and buying things online, what about our main topic here, the old Steam Boy?
Yeah.
Man,
I think it's being marketed as the Smok Zero. I think is like
is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the official name for it in the articles I've read. It's
Okay.
it's like the hand. It's like if you're that old a gamer, it looks like a Game Gear to me. Like
Now,
if
I'm
you think
looking at
about
a
it, like it looks like a
logo that
Sega
says
Game Gear
Steam
to
Boy
me,
in
or
it.
like kind of like the Wiimote, the Wii U's like Wiimote thing. Like
Yeah.
it almost seems like that type of, maybe a little smaller, but I mean that's kind of the design it has. It has like the triggers in the back with two game pads, like in two of those weird like
The tactile
yeah.
thumb.
I don't know. I mean, I've never
thingies.
used one before. But I mean, if they put this much development into it, I can only hope that it's intuitive enough to play most of these games. You know.
See, and there's where what kind of scares me, especially with like some of the more graphically intense games, because you got to think
Yeah.
about the kind of graphics cards that we put inside our machines. How are they going to get that
Yeah.
into a handheld system?
Well,
That's
you have
insane.
to.
Well, they can't.
No, you have
It's-
to take for a grain of salt though. This is not playing the entire Steam library. This is playing the Steam OS and Linux game library. So
Oh,
you don't
there you go.
don't be running away with it now, because they put that very up front. We're playing games that can run on Steam OS and Linux. They're not putting the whole
Yeah.
PC bundle up front. You got to be very
And I
clear about
think
that.
that
People are
as-
confused.
Yeah.
I think as SteamOS launches, basically most games will be able to run and will have SteamOS as well.
Mm.
But at first, of course, it will take a little bit for it to be implemented, but I think that it will be there. I'm guessing what they're doing is they're building a handheld that can stream Steam games.
That's
Yeah,
what I
I
was
mean,
thinking.
I'm down with that because I already use the Steam streaming feature for
Yeah,
my setup a lot. So I have problems with it, but I also enjoy a lot of it. Like I think a lot of stuff works, and I have a lot of my big desktop. But the thing is, it's gonna do it wirelessly, which
yeah,
is my concern, because like there's only there's a lot less information you can kind of transfer wirelessly compared to
yeah.
hardwired hardline connection.
Well,
but I mean,
there's a number of connections out there that you can do at hardcore wireless speeds, but that is
not
extremely
cheap, though.
expensive. Exactly, and
gonna-
there's
but the thing
nobody out
is-
there that has that.
Yeah, and you're gonna need a certain router to do that. That's another argument. Like you can't just be like some rinky-dink like D-Link router. It's not gonna be able to support stuff like that, those speeds. But
Definitely not.
the fact that they advertised that I could play Civ 5 on it is
That's pretty darn
a
cool.
reason I kind of want to give them my money, because
Yeah.
I would not mind installing Civ 5 onto my, Smog Zero, and like going on the bus or on the train or whatever, and being able to have a continuous save game I can play on and off.
Yeah, that's cool. That's another. If it takes off, what's got me excited about this is it's just one more way that PC gaming and the open format that is PC is going to expand. Is going to reach more people. And if it really does work like that, where you can grab things like Civilization 5 and some of the less graphically intensive and reaction intensive games,
Yeah, exactly. Like
where a
turn-based
slower
type
system wouldn't
stuff.
be. Yeah, if you have a little slowdown due to network latency, it's not as big of a deal as if you're playing, Counter-Strike or something,
Yeah, like
So that
I'm really
would be
excited
awesome.
to kind of put my, Sims on there, like the whole idea, like I like City Skylines, I
Yeah.
I like Banished, like those types of games are perfect for a system like that, because it's just such a pickup, play for just a little bit or however long you got. They're not graphics intensive. They're not going to be running, the processor dry, So it seems like it's really going to be built initially to the kind of those types of games crowd, or like, the roguelike games, like
Yeah, yeah, there you
mhm.
go.
there's
Which are really big.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean
absolutely.
all those single player experiences, like God, what's Darkest Dungeon? If they can play that on there, I would
That would
love
be
it.
awesome.
Go on there,
Yep.
do a dungeon. Oh, I'm done. I'm getting off the bus. My dungeon's done. Like the what is it like the Rogue Legacy games? Like those
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one
that's a
would be
platformer.
great
Like
lit.
game.
maybe even like I was thinking Shovel Knight would be like an awesome
Yep.
game to have on that. There's
Terraria would be
they
fun
have they
too.
are
Play
smart.
the hell out of
They're
that.
definitely planning this well, and I think that if it kicks off, and maybe in a couple years we'll see a stronger one, or maybe a third party will build a stronger version
Well,
of
even
it.
as networks get better too, you'll be able to
Exactly.
Exactly.
carry.
And there's a lot of places out there in the world that are building networks around their city, so that way
Yep.
that no matter where you go, you have wireless. And there's a lot of people that are putting a lot of money into doing that kind of thing. So I can only imagine that it's going to be a lot less able to be for you to get access basically to wherever you are at.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm really excited for it. I mean, the biggest question, of course, like the biggest MacGuffin is like battery life. Like, how long is this thing gonna last? How long am I gonna be able to
That's a good
continuously
point.
play straight without having it plugged into anything? Is this gonna take? I'm sure Steam will be smart about it and not pull the Apple move and make a certain power charger for it that only
Yeah.
reacts with it. I'm sure it'll be like a mini USB or something, hopefully. But if it needs to have a long enough battery life to matter, because I mean, essentially, this is kind of throwing down the gauntlet at Nintendo. Like, I think this is one of the biggest conversation points for me is like, is it going to be success? Because I mean, a lot of people go to their mobile gaming for the 3DS right now with good reason. It's just such a solid, like, handheld. It has an awesome game library. It has the whole online interface, although Nintendo's kind of behind in that they are getting their store running, they are getting titles up there. you know
Yeah.
that to me is like the biggest question mark, because I'm just like, is it enough to draw people to buy an additional handheld? Now me, I have a
Hmm.
3DS and I want to buy this, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who aren't going to buy this because they already have that filled,
And that's
usefulness
totally
filled up.
where I'm coming from too. Is that I'm looking at it, and even though it's not expensive, $300 is not that expensive when it comes to something that you're getting offered that's like this. So I don't see that as
Yeah.
expensive. But the fact is just exactly like you said, man. I've got my 3DS sitting there. When am I in between all the other games that I'm going to be playing? And this is me obviously coming from more of a being a parent and that kind of stuff. So time is really something that factors into this. When am I going to have time to be able to play that too? Do you see what I'm saying? But the fact is that you're playing games on your Steam library that most of them that you probably already own and look at and go, man, I really want to play that game. Shit, I don't have the time to play that game because there's just no time,
Yeah.
or I don't want to sit in front of my computer and play that game. This solves that problem altogether.
Yeah.
So it's really it could be good, could be bad. So I think personally on my side, I'm gonna wait to see how it comes out and how it all kind of rolls out in the end.
Me as well. I'm looking at that too and going, it's a great idea, and I'm excited to see that somebody's trying to bring PC gaming out of the office and expanding into a mobile platform. I think it's also important to mention too. This is not actually related to Steam. The Valve is not developing this. It's a separate company. It's an unofficial Steam product, but it is obviously it's got the look and it looks. I mean, looks good.
I mean,
So
I'm all
I'm kind
about
of
that.
on
It
the
looks
other end of
sexy.
this. I'm gonna put my money up front. I think I've been debating getting the pre-order for it, and I think I am gonna get the pre-order for it
interesting.
because
Well, that's good. You can
I
tell us what
just,
you
Exactly
I
think.
what I
mean,
was thinking. You could test it out and you could tell me.
it's just when it comes to this stuff, like when Steam OS came out, I had tried to pull my laptop to that very quickly to like the beta file, and I had a lot of problems installing it, and I guess it just wasn't booting up. Maybe I had the corrupted files or something. It just wasn't. It wouldn't
That's a
load,
bummer.
unfortunately, on my laptop. But I'm just so open to something new in the PC market finally, because it's just been
Yeah,
one way the whole time for so long.
yeah.
You know,
That's kind of what
there's a
I'm
lot
saying.
of
It's
these third
exciting.
party, like, Linux, but it's just, I want more options. I'm really tired of doing the Windows every other freaking operating system. I'm tired of being sold new PCs with limited options on what operating system I want on it. It just bothers me that there's just such a monopoly of that Microsoft has over that kind of part part of the industry. And now,
Yeah.
just this handheld being available, just this handheld being out there, I think that it's going to give people, even if it doesn't sell necessarily well, it'll give people like, hey, people are trying to change, like, the game. Like, people are trying new innovative things, and they're trying
Yep.
it's not a Windows phone, like, it's not that whole
Yeah.
debacle. Like, it
Jesus.
is people are expanding, and what we know is acceptable and what we know is like the norm, could be changing. And to me, that's something I want to support. So even, that's why I'm interested. I'm pre-ordering and showing with my wallet, hey, I'm for this. Like, I want more of this. I want more people to take risks like this. I'm tired of the saturation of just the non-risk taking industry that we're kind of in.
Well, I guess you could say too, one of the cool things in general is that PCs and Steam's taking it that way a lot anyway. They're developing the Steam OS, and then we're gonna have the Steam boxes. So we're gonna see a big change altogether. But I think you're absolutely right that this is just one more part of that too that's gonna
Absolutely.
help with that.
It's a step in the right direction, to be just completely for it, because, like you said, Nick, it's been the same monotonous stuff since really the early 90s, even before then. But the early 90s is when this whole thing of just like, well, in order for you to play games, and in order for you to play good games, you have to have a PC. And
Yeah.
that's when it started, because I mean, what PC got down that no other gaming system has is that PC is modular. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't need to buy like an Xbox where it's one unit, that's all you get. A PC is modular. You want a new graphics card? Fine. Rip out your old graphics card, put one in it. I think if I think I it sounds like we're trying to start to gear up towards that kind of handheld notion, that we want to create something that's modular and something that has the ability to maintain itself with all current PC titles. So the ability to ramp up to that is really what I'm looking forward to. So I'm completely with you, Nick, with supporting it with my wallet. I just still gonna wait.
Looking at the specs, it's a quad-core CPU with 4 gigabits of RAM and 32 gigabits of built-in memory. So it's at 4 gigabits of RAM. It can run actually quite a bit of some of the lower-end games.
Yeah, it's
Well,
pretty
you
much
have to
everything
take
on
into
on
account
low.
that we're not talking about how much RAM Windows is going to steal. We're talking about how much
Yeah.
RAM the Steam OS, like, very bare bones. It's not taking that much of your power
No, it's
from the
not.
game.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of factor that in. You have to compare it,
Yeah.
and then that 32 gigabyte, that's expandable through SD cards. So
Exactly.
you have options here. You have upgrade options. It's very much. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard some of it's like modular, kind of like the Steam controller was. I'm
Yeah,
not.
that's
This
what I
is
was saying there, that
speculation.
it was
This is
modular. That
speculation. But if you can move around the pads and the buttons, goddamn, like, I'm going. That's awesome to me, because it just makes you be able to experiment with a lot of different, formats, or where your button layout is, or what you have it set up to do.
Now, is this a kind of a crowd-funded type thing, or is this just take your pre-orders at full? And
I didn't see.
I was looking too. I was kind of curious. It sounded like Nick, like you know
I
a little more
I
about it.
know that you can pre-order it in November. I think it's November 10th. You can pre-order an introductory edition, which is going to be about $300 or $330.
Okay.
Now, that is the promise to be delivered sometime in 2016. It's still very vague. I'm sure once they get to November or closer, they're going to have an exact point where you're going to be able to get it, where the release date is, for the people who are
Okay.
putting up money. But now this is also an introductory price, so you're getting a discount on it. Whatever their actual price is going to be is going to be more than this, for the people who kind of want to put in. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it's a Kickstarter. I don't think it's like
Yeah.
looking for funding. I think it's going to happen regardless. But you can pre-order it and get this kind of special price up front, and
Well, that's
people are
awesome.
going to have to pay more, presumably, however much later. I don't know exactly. I'm looking at an article right now. I'm trying to find who is behind this, but I can't see a name.
Yeah, it seems to be that it's the Steam Boy development team, is what I keep reading.
Yeah, I was looking under Smock Zero myself, and I just cannot. Because it looks
Yeah,
like
I think it's
Smock
called.
Zero is the official name for it. It's called
Yeah.
Smock Zero, which is that's a cool name. I'm gonna give it up to him because that name is kind of awesome. But as far as a website, actually it's smockzero.com. We're idiots.
Yeah, I think that like
We're learning as we're going
the
here,
Smock Zero
folks.
thing at first, people are gonna be like, what? Like, what the hell, Smock Zero? Like, what? But like, once it becomes more of a known name, people start kind of realizing it and hearing it more. I
Yeah,
think it's
it'll.
going to be accepted. I know a lot of people are kind of against it at this point, but
I'm
it is a
open-minded
silly
about
name.
this.
But what isn't a silly name? Wii U, like,
Yeah.
Nvidia.
exactly.
I'm
There's a
buying an
lot of
Nvidia
great.
card today. Sorry. We love you, Nvidia. We really do. I've got 2 of your cards. I'll leave you alone now.
I wish I had Nvidia.
Now
I'm
I can
learning.
only assume I don't. Now you said it wasn't. You said it wasn't Steam or it wasn't Valve behind this, and you said
No.
third party. But I have to assume there's some sort of partnership or deal with them to get this type of stuff. I mean, if you look at it, it is straight up taken the Steam controller like
Yeah.
configurations. It can't be purely third party like an Alienware machine. It can't.
That's the
It
thing
can't be
about
something like that.
Steam stuff and what they're doing. There's no partnership necessary. It's totally open. And that's why all the Steam boxes, Steam's not trying to do what the console market did, which is make their stuff proprietary. It's all open to anyone that wants to use it.
Yeah.
So you can call it a Steam this or Steam that. They're not licensing that.
Okay.
So that's why there's Alienware Steam boxes, and none of those are officially licensed, but they're part of the product anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm certain they're basically now what you're seeing too. I don't know. I'm willing to bet that these are just the images are just development rendering and not an actual product. They're probably just from the 3D models.
No, it looks like
Yeah.
it looks like the ones that they're holding. If you go to their Facebook page, is like a real thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm just looking at some pictures.
So
here
is that
look-
like, I guess, is their company name like the Smock? Is that their like name of their company? Like what Facebook page you're looking at? Are you just looking
It
at the
looks like
Smock
that is
Zero?
the name of their company.
Yeah, it just seems like
Interesting.
Smock is kind of what I'm seeing is that's
Yeah, I'm
their
looking at their Facebook page.
yeah, because I went to their actual like smockzero.com and it seems like Smock is their logo, their company name, and the zero is like Smock Zero is like the product, I guess is how that's kind of working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, I mean, I'm on board for this. I'm really interested. I want it to succeed. I'm a little worried about how lengthy it is. I don't want it to be like another Wii U like
Yeah, I was just
controller in
thinking
my
that.
hands. I don't want that. If it's a little bit bigger than a Vita, I'm okay with that. But it can't get into like the gimmicky toy area. I mean, if it gets that big, I feel like it's going to have a lot of backlash on just the size of the product itself and not the service it's giving you. Because you have to, in this day and age, like look and feel is just as important as
Yeah.
especially when
Yeah,
it comes
the
to tech.
industrial design.
Especially when it comes to tech.
Yeah, if it doesn't feel right in your hands, nobody's gonna want to play with it. And especially since that is your main thing, is that you are a handheld system. If it's too big, too small, too round, too fat, whatever, somebody's gonna complain about it, and it's gonna turn into this giant thing. I mean, well, I take that back. For gamers, we complain about everything, but like if it gets too many complaints, then it's gonna have to change.
Yeah, it'll just stall out. The product will have to adapt. But I'm sure this won't be the last handheld PC type product that we're going to see either. So, especially if it's even remotely successful.
Like I
Absolutely.
said, I think it's gonna. It just really depends on it just really depends on how much strength and battery. The battery life is just such a killer thing to me. Like if it has less than 8 hours of battery life, I mean, that's asking a lot of someone for $300.
Cause see, at that point, then it's just
Yeah.
like, why don't I just go pick up my phone? I'll just, you know what, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
and
play
the
a game.
same thing is like if you want me to play with it plugged in all the time, why don't I just play my PC? Like why
Yeah,
don't
your
you know?
laptop.
Like why am I? It just the battery better be lengthy. Like I say, I'm not gonna pre-order it like now. Like I can't pre-order it now. But if I get no more details about this come November, then I might wait because I'm gonna need some more
Yeah.
details before. But if they finally open some details like battery life, you know what, maybe have a video of someone like actually holding it and comparing it to like a banana or something like for size, like then I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm down, like I'm interested. But if it's just November, they're like, we're taking pre-orders now, I'm like, they're just goofing. That's just a
Yeah.
terrible marketing because they need to be very upfront and very open with what they're selling you, not this closed off regular industry kind of talk.
Yeah, for real.
I completely agree with that, and I think that's a lot of their sales gimmick though, because they're getting you hyped up for this thing. They're letting you kind of like your mind run away with you, and
Yeah.
getting you to think all this awesome stuff about it. Because I mean, we're building it up to something huge that when we get it, it may not even be close to that. I wish they really had a demo out. That's what I really want to see. Is that maybe even just like you said, somebody playing it. If I could just see somebody playing it, that would help me out so much as to whether or not to get it or just say, you know what, I pass.
Yeah.
Well, it's only the initial announcement, and we'll get a lot more information, I'm sure, here soon. So we'll keep everyone at FGN posted. I'm just excited to hear, Nick, you're going to get it, assuming they give you the information.
I'm down for it. I love my 3DS.
That's great.
But I would like, especially with the roguelikes, man. Like I would really like to be able to play Darkest Dungeon on the go on a 3-hour bus ride somewhere, or an hour-long train ride. I would really, really like to be able to have those types of games, the roguelike, the Shovel Knights. I mean, especially like City Skylines. If it'll play that. I mean, City Skylines has a free expansion coming out, a big update, which is going to add like a day and night cycle to your cities.
The nightlife one.
And I mean,
so crazy.
I love those games, and the fact I'll be able to have them on the go is just very, like, it's very economical to me. Like, I want to play those games, so it's like, hey, what? I mean, if it has cloud-based saving, and like you were saying, Justin, and we have more and more access to Wi-Fi these days, I can play the same save file as the one on PC. Holy fuck! I mean, to me is just amazing, because that's
exactly
like what kind of the Vita kind of tries to do, I mean, I'm behind it. I mean, for all the reasons I've already said, I want to see these risks taken, and I think that people like this, if they're going to give you an actually good product, like I said, I need more details, but if the details support it, the details support me buying it still, this is the type of vote, the industry is going to wane on, because you're going to see a lot of investors and a lot of people with the money following this to see how it does. And we always say, like, people we get such stale games, it's such the same thing over and over again. The movie business, we're getting remakes of everything, rehashes of everything these days. If you are interested, if you are really passionate about new stuff, you need to take some responsibility for what you talk about.
Exactly.
Like,
your dollars
that's where I'm at.
Your dollars speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, every dollar's a vote.
So if you're behind this and you're like Nick and you want to get behind this and you're all about it, you're like, just like Will just said, your dollar means so much. Put your dollars behind it, because that's what's going to end up changing the industry into the things that we want to see.
I completely, and that's kind of what's cool. I mean, just sort of segue up this, what's so cool about the PC gaming where it's at right now, because there is so much innovation and in the indie market and stuff. So if you're interested in new people doing new bold, like we were just talking about Subnautica, it's all these new things, and it's one of the best things about PC gaming.
So. Absolutely. I think we've talked about this before in other podcasts, as it were, is that the indie game scene on PC is just so much more different, and just so expansive on PC than it is on any other console or anything else that you're going to get anywhere else. So you know what? I think that's what excites me most about this, honestly, just to kind of go back to that, is that the availability of just the PC games that people are going to make, but then also have the portability of going to a handheld. That
Yeah.
is so awesome. I can't even take that in. That's just so cool.
Well, I'm excited to see more of it.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I kind of feel like we've come to a pretty natural stopping point here.
Yeah.
So I think we got a good little bit. I'm obviously going to have to cover a bit more of this as we get more information, and of course everything to do with Steam. It's always great news. So, but I guess thank you, Justin. Thank you, Nick, and thank you everyone for listening. This is FGN Plays. I'm Will Regester, and we'll catch up with you again here soon. Have a good one. 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 Soon. Have a good one.